Agora, para dar continuidade à programação de painéis internacionais, a gente vai abrir agora o segundo painel do dia, sexto painel internacional no total. Esse painel, a gente está muito feliz em trazer ele aqui, porque ele é a parceria internacional entre o Prêmio Profissionais da Música e o evento canadense Indie Week. Então, a gente está muito feliz de poder trazer isso para vocês. Eu vou chamar eles agora em inglês, mas fiquem aí atentos. Vai ser um painel ótimo, vai ser um tema muito divertido, com pessoas excelentes. Então, eu vou chamar eles agora. Zach, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm going to officially open the second panel of the day with you, Zach McQueen, Dhari, Peter, and another set of wonderful people. Zach, if you want to start, you can lead the panel. He will be the mediator. We're very happy to have you, very honored, and hope you guys can have fun above all, and have a great panel. Zach, please.
Thank you so much, Lucas. I'm Zach. We're here moderating the panel called Meet the International Festivals. So I work with Indie Week in Canada, and we'll be joined by a slew of guests from around the world that put on their own festivals and conferences. And it's all about connecting. The music industry itself is all about taking next steps and expanding elsewhere and seeing who you can meet around the world in new international markets to put your music out there. So here we are. I believe either Jose or Elmer will be joining us from Veltrac Music Festival in Peru, in Chile, but I am here joined with Dhari. If you'd like to tell us a bit about yourself and WOMEX.
Hi. Yeah, thanks, Zach. So my name's Dhari. I'm sitting here currently in Berlin, so I hope the audio is okay and everything. We actually just finished up WOMEX, which was our 27th edition in Porto, Portugal this year with our partners AMG. And I have to say it was very nice to be in person at live shows. We had around 2,600 delegates, so industry professionals, with around 290 artists performing. So still a bit on the recovery side, but it was really a successful edition.
That sounds quite amazing. I know here in Canada, it's quite a lot different in terms of us getting back to live, but did you see COVID affect or change your international outreach or perspective in that side of things? It sounds like it went fantastic, which is so amazing to hear.
Yeah, it definitely changed even from the beginning. So as a normal showcase event, normally the showcases are programmed with a jury, which is exactly like WOMEX. So we have 7 jury members who select the program. And even from the beginning of this year, we noticed that proposals were coming from different countries or were not as international as normal, which is the effects of Corona, unfortunately. So from the onset in January, we noticed that. And then leading up, we had a few artists that just couldn't attend. They were expected to quarantine for 14 days in Porto, which obviously is not financially sustainable. But luckily, they delivered some incredible virtual showcases. And so we've been screening them. 1 week before WOMEX, we had some network sessions and virtual showcase sessions. And they delivered some beautiful videos, like some in the deserts of Mali, also from an ashram in India, from a lounge room in Mexico. So certain countries couldn't attend this year, which is sad. At the same time, very happy that we could do something. So also on site, everybody masked, and we had like a QR code on the wristband, which was connected to your vaccine or connected to a test. So every time you went into a venue, you had to scan. So it was a bit more complicated. And luckily, delegates and the artists were very patient. And sometimes if the scanner wouldn't work, it was just wait their turn. But yeah, it was new systems in place for sure.
Right. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you had a hybrid aspect to the event then, right? Was there, did you see, I mean, since the start of COVID, at least I know, noticing from Indie Week's perspective, we've had a chance to really reach out and connect with people all over the world. And it seems like people are much more open to a brief Zoom meeting, almost like what we're doing right now, and connecting that way. So I mean, I've met Lucas and the Music Pro Awards team, which has been fantastic, and other conferences in Taiwan and whatnot. Have you seen a lot more international connections happening, at least for WOMEX? Did you have any international components or new connections that you made since the start of COVID that have been interesting
Yeah,
for you?
definitely. Yeah, on one side it makes it more inclusive because there's no cost to travel and there's no border crossing visa issues. Yeah, but on the other side it is that missing the physical contact, as we all know. But this year we did have, it was 2,600 people from around 100 different countries. So it was quite international. And then we had one conference room, which was like a hybrid screen in, screen out. So some people couldn't travel. So they were broadcasted into the room for a conference session. And that was our hybrid element there. Yeah.
Awesome. It looks like, I believe Elmer's joining us, and we'll hear a bit about oh, there we are. Just making sure. Hey, Pepe. Can you hear and see me okay? I think you're just on mute. Let's see here.
I'm good. Thanks.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. We've just gotten started and heard a bit from Dhari about WOMEX, but let's pass it over to you. Can you tell us a bit about what you do and what you do with Veltrac Music Festival?
Yeah, for sure. Hi, everyone. Sorry for the delay here. I got a little mixed up with the time difference. So let me define Veltrac Music. Pretty much we are like we are 360 music agency here. We do sorts of the different things in the entertainment and music genre, pretty much. We book for many artists. We promote a couple of festivals in the market, mainly in the alternative music, international alternative music. We represent some artists as booking and management, and also we work with different brands where we create brand experiences based pretty much on entertainment and music events. We also have created a festival called Veltrac Music Fest, which has pretty much 3 editions, and recently have built a networking platform more as a music summit side of the BMF called BMF Pro. This is a conference we're trying to promote to some sort of connect the Peruvian market and in general the Latin American region with the rest of the world, offering connections with pretty much B2B connections with the market, and at the same time trying to link all sorts of opportunities that we could bring to develop the scene. That's pretty much, I mean, as an initial description.
Awesome. Thank you, Pepe. Would you say, and I know I was just discussing about how making international connections has felt easier than ever since the start of the pandemic. And I know that we've met over Zoom, hopefully sometime in person, but it's been awesome to meet and talk about how we can connect. I mean, conference to conference or festival to festival, but also I like thinking about it from an artist perspective. If there's artists or industry members watching, it's the same deal. Like go out there and connect. Now's the time. People are more than happy to talk with you and go for a quick Zoom coffee, if you will. But how have you seen COVID affect your business in terms of what you do with VMF? I know I'm sure there's some ups and downs to both of it, but I think I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, man. For sure. There've been in general, my personal approach to adversity, I'm trying to take challenges as opportunities. So as hard as it has been for everyone in the pandemic and in the music industry, as strong that it could affect not having shows to, you know, the typical business model in general. I particularly tried to focus on different, how do I say this in English? Side business, you know, side business in the music industry. For example, one project that we created is we realized the importance of physical goods as a way to stay connected with your preferred artists, you know. So we saw a sign of increasing demand for artist merchandising, official artist merchandising for vinyls. And I saw a very interesting trend that we could support to bring to the market. It's a trend that I know everywhere in the world is obviously building up strongly, but here was something that was pretty much green. And so we decided to open a online e-commerce based on vinyls of the artists that we usually bring, or at least the style of the artists we usually bring, official merchandising. And even we went as far as creating a music lifestyle store. So we could some sort of redefine, you know, like accessories or any sort of gadget goods, like from speakers to headphones to even apparel, you know, like that we could link to the lifestyle of what we think is an audience of Veltrac, you know. And it went really well, you know. It became an amazing project that we still have to keep going now after the pandemic started to get better and shows are coming back. Now we have a music store, and this music store links to the shows. Like we're bringing an artist, we are very close to announce an artist that is going to Lollapalooza, Brazil in March. And part of the deal now this year is when I sent an offer and we're closing up deals, I include, listen, let me take care of the merch. Let me produce the merch or let me license the merch. Let's pre-sell the merch on my store before the show, so you can guarantee more sales and not necessarily like guess randomly the amount of merchandising you're going to bring to the Peruvian show. So it's an opportunity for both of us now. So it's just like something that built up that wasn't there before the pandemic, you know. And just like that, there's other sides like we've opened the management division. We are representing our artists, and we're getting very strong on the digital labeling. And there's like a new way of some sort of being a digital label. There's a whole new world in there that I'm like, okay, try to catch up. So I think there's opportunities with that, you know. And virtuality allows us to connect directly. So if you have the experience, if you have the opportunities, if you have the know-how, it's so much easier to link to someone and close a business, you know. So that has helped a lot for sure.
And I think there's like an important takeaway there is like there's always a need for something physical. I think that's so smart of you to start the store and be focusing on vinyl and those other artist goods that you can. I think that everyone is starting to see the value of something in person when we can't be.
Exactly.
So that's amazing. For the festival itself, are you planning to run it in person when you're able to? How have you found planning it online versus in person? Has that changed a lot for you?
That has been a very hard decision. We were doubting in the fact that we think the festival is not only a curation of whatever lineup and a list of bands playing together. We believe the concept of the festival and the experience in general is something that there's no way to replicate or redo on a big virtual scenario. And for us, the festival is so emblematic. You know, it has the name of the company, Veltrac Music Fest, and it's something that we know we have to build in a long time frame. It's not like a short planning thing. We were very hesitate to do it, but at the same time, like I say, opportunities arise, and part of the government initiatives to help the music sector was to apply for festivals to be some sort of redone in a digital world, and we won. So we were like, okay, now we have a fund. How do we still make a difference? And make it not just like, how do we have the Veltrac Music Fest online without it not being the normal physical experience and still be well taken by the fans? So we decided that this time we were going to make an impact to the fans more than in the experience overall. We were going to try to transcend on our mission and purpose and the brand itself. So we thought it was logical as a statement to create the division of the festival that was more focused to helping the industry rebuild, the scene rebuild after the damages in the pandemic, So with that, the idea of the BMF Pro came, where we were like, okay, let's bring some networking, let's bring some panels, some, like opportunities that help the music sector, the music business, and the regular fans will see bands, will see showcases, but not maybe the typical headliners and the big names. In the contrary, let's bring unity in supporting emerging artists, and let's make them realize we are that in-between platform that joins, like curates amazing emerging artists and brings them to the Peruvian audience, and vice versa, bring up an amazing audience to a huge number of emerging artists that need to develop in the world, So the BMF Pro was very logical to be the excuse to do it virtually, So whatever, we end up doing it like that. It's going well so far. It's going to be at the end of the month. We got a lot of attention from key players in the industry that are supporting the idea. But I think, you can never have it all, It's like one or the other, So if we weren't going to have the full physical experience, we were like, okay, let's just try to create something new, that maybe 2022 or 23, we'll be back on physical, the real experience, but now we're going to have a physical BMF Pro also, So like I said, there was an opportunity to get from this,
Definitely. Yeah. There's ways to frame things and continue forging ahead through all of this, but super excited for VMF in a few weeks. I know it's coming up soon. Indie Week is next week. So I hope to see some of you guys there. But I did want to kind of jump back and take a look at international connections and maybe some pointers that we can give the audience. I know that I'm sure my colleagues here can attest to how busy we've all been the last few weeks, just in terms of the emails and trying to keep up with all the conversations we have going on. But would you say, and I'll pass this to you, Dhari, first, is there a way that you'd prefer someone contact you in terms of making international connections or just getting your ear about something? Is it email? Is there any kind of preferences or pointers that you can give people?
So actually with WOMEX, it's once a year we have a call for proposals. So artists wanting to perform, there's like a call in January. We haven't set the dates exactly, but it's about mid-January to mid-March. And you have to apply online and pitch your band to the jury who then do the programming. So I'm always available for questions on emails and things, but the best way is to submit the proposal.
Right.
But it's also important to know why you're writing, why you're proposing, what you want to get out of it. A showcase, it's not like a normal concert where you go perform, get paid, go home. It's industry, like a concert performing to industry professionals. So they're focused on what they can take home, what they can book for the next year. And it's normally part of a larger networking and conference event. So with WOMEX, we have the showcases, the conferences, trade fair, film screenings, we have a radio studio. What have I forgotten? I think that's it. And the club summit, the like more electronic nights. So for each category, we have like a proposal system where you can propose your artist or propose your band, and you have to include like MP3s, bio, tech writers, all these kinds of things. So for me, it's important when we're looking at the proposals that it's like a nice package, that it makes sense, that it's cohesive. So the tech writer has 7 people. You write about 7 people in the bio that all kind of comes together. It sounds obvious, but it's thinking about the humans behind the proposal who are reading it and trying to make sense of it, I think is the best way to put it.
That's a great way to put it. I have a few comments too, but I'll let Pepe go. Is there any pointers that you have for people wanting to maybe do some more business either with you or BMF or just in Peru in general? Is there a method that you prefer people getting in touch with you when you're tied up and busy?
I mean, to be honest, I agree 100%. In general, like the approach for showcases itself or for artists that want to make a pitch, you know, I don't think it's always only about the music. You know, I know that music is, of course, super important, but believe it or not, in the industry, this is an industry, this is a business, you know, and the team has a lot to do with the success of a project, you know. So how the team approaches anyone shows a lot. You know, you can send me an amazing band, but the way you send it or who sends it says a lot also of the project, you know. And sometimes it's just being coherent to who you are approaching for what says a lot too. You know, if you're sending me something and it's like totally out of context, I'm like, all right, this shows already where you are, you know, individually, independently, that maybe I press play and I like the music that I'm listening to, you know. So that has definitely a factor to consider when it requires, like, when I'm referring to pitches, you know, in general. But business wise, like, I'm like I'm the kind of guy that handles a lot of things at the same time, and that's my life, you know. In general, in business, I'm usually like that. So I'm very straight to the point, you know, and sometimes some people take it good, some people don't. Like, I know sometimes there's a formality needed, you know, and that's good too. But maybe people appreciate when you're just direct, you know, like, hey, this is it. Maybe this is what I want, you know. And if there's some time restrictions or sensibility, I'm fine if you WhatsApp me and you're like, dude, it's me from this. This is going on right now. You're in, you're out, interested, not interested, and I'll say yes, no, maybe, but immediately, you know. Like, some businesses require that level of interaction, you know. Doesn't mean that I don't want to have my personal space and that everything has to be on WhatsApp or on any chat, you know, even Facebook, whatever, Instagram. Like, hey, I'm this guy from this company. I'm sending you emails, but I haven't got a reply. This is good for you. Trust me. You're in, you're out, you know. Fine, I'm good for that, you know.
Totally. Yeah, I think
I've done it myself, you know.
Exactly. I think we all have. I think you speak for most, if not all of us in the industry, in terms of wanting straight up answers. You know, come. I think I think a takeaway and points that I would bring up is like come with a plan. You know, like if you're showcasing somewhere, like why are you showcasing somewhere? Why do you want to showcase there? Is there a reason behind it? Do you have numbers there that you're interested in growing, or you're saying naturally grow all of a sudden as an artist? Right. There's so many factors at play, and even then it's like is now the right time to showcase for you? Do you have the team behind you to make it a successful showcase? And what I've learned is like once you do, you can have the most amazing showcase, but it's all about the follow up and who you talk to afterward. So you gotta be free the week after.
I've been proven wrong. Like I don't know. Like for example, when I'm there's like a time frame in the year when I'm starting to book, you know, for the festival that happens in November. You know, I'm starting to talk to agents and managers, you know, some artists directly, depending on the level, and people share the information, you know. So I start getting some emails from people sometimes that I didn't even know. Right. This comes also for other festivals that I book for that are not my festivals, but I'm in charge of the program, you know. So there have been cases where I'm like, cool, thanks, I like the music, but maybe I'll get I'll send a polite reply saying that honestly, I think maybe it's a good band, it's a good music, but maybe it's not the right time, you know. And I've appreciated when maybe the other side is like, listen, I've seen the numbers, check this out. There's a link between the band and the radio station in Peru, and they end up showing me information that I wasn't aware of, and I'm like, dude, good. Thanks for that. You got it. Okay, you're right. Let's get this going, you know? So yeah, I appreciate that directness on business. And if you have to pursue and be aggressive and hustle, you know, go for it, you know, but just show that you are aware of why you're doing this, you know, and not necessarily just asking for a favor or opportunity like that randomly, you know?
Yeah, I think it's about knowing who you're talking to and what your motives are as well for talking to that person and being, as you said, straight up about it. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And I think it's just a lot of prep work that goes into it and just being ready and knowing when the right time is and that you're in the right place. It's definitely, as one of you mentioned earlier, like the difference between a showcase and just a regular show. It isn't like some bar gig that you go to and pack up and go home for the night. It's definitely just your showcase is just the conversation starter. It's that first email, you know, and people will contact you if you're interested.
And there's a certain responsibility, I think, as well with a showcase. As you said, with the timing, it's very important. If you're not ready to be in this like export environment with professionals, it can also be damaging. So to know when you're ready, when's a good time, what you want out of it. I think motive's very important, and then managing expectations of what's going to happen at the event.
Right.
And having a support system as well helps. Even if it's a best friend coming and handing out flyers or helping network.
Right. Yeah, you got to maximize your trips. But that's a great point and segue. The timing is very important, and you should feel ready and good to go taking these showcases on. What would you guys say is something that makes an artist export ready? Is there some key indicators that you guys have that you see or that you like to see? If you hear a band's music and you're like, that fits, what are some things that you'd like to see from the band in terms of like management or who you're contacting or any kind of deals that they have in place already? Is there anything like that you guys can mention? Dhari.
I mean,
yeah.
You go.
Go for it. Go for it.
So I think it's part of the package. So the music is just one element. It also has to look professional and be export ready. So coming on stage is kind of like the final gift wrap of the package, I would say. It's all the build up to making the proposal, making the contact, having good photos, having good bio. It's also good to look at, again, what support is around to help you. So that could be on a more, like from a funding level, or if it's not funding, maybe it's networks. Maybe you have a friend who's been to that conference before and they can give you some pointers. And also preparing, know what the event is, know what your stage is like, know the tech specs, check the backline. So like with WOMEX, for example, we're very strict on timing. We have set 45 minutes on stage and we're very strict with that so that it's as equal as possible. So it's also about being professional on site, sticking to the 45 minutes, and also just checking out other bands. I mean, we have incredible musicians, incredible talent coming every year. So just walking around, making friends, making relationships, and sometimes the outcomes of showcase might not be immediate, might be slightly more long-term. So maybe next year someone is working for electronic festival and your music doesn't fit, but perhaps that person moves to a 9 year in 2 years and they remember you because you had this conversation, and then it clicks 2 years down the line. So it's not just about the music, it's about the whole package.
Yes, totally. Pepe, do you have any?
Well, I mean, a lot of things come to my mind, you know. Like one of the first things is that I mean, I think we should be aware, and it's crazy, but this took me a while to understand. Being Peruvian, I left Peru when I was 17 to be a professional musician in the US for many years, and somehow that ended up as a transition for me coming back and now working as a promoter. But being Peruvian means being a Latin in the US, and working in the Latin industry in the US meant understanding markets, you know, the US Hispanic market, you know, and then the Latin American market being managed by offices run in the US. So that whole, you know, criteria was very interesting for me to understand, but never still understood something that later on when I got back here and started putting delegations and actually going to WOMEX, South by Southwest, and events like that, understood was that people don't buy music for where it is from, you know, or listen to music for where it is from. I'm not saying there's exceptions, of course there are, but like people buy music, consume music because it's just fucking good, you know. So like, oh, I'm gonna listen to music from Peru today, or tomorrow I'm gonna listen to music from Ecuador. No, it's just like you like this band, you like this music, and they happen to be from that country. And maybe, yeah, the sound that you like, there's aesthetics of the culture of that country or whatever, you know. So some bands, for some reason, like understand being an export project from whatever country means they have to be selling the country on their proposal. That's not necessarily, you know, like you could be a blues band from Peru, and, you know, and just be amazing and pursue that, you know. I mean, you have to be aware if you have the right team that you're gonna compete with American blues bands, you know, that can do it forever. It's their culture, but you know, like something to keep in mind for sure. And in the same lines, I mean, if you're thinking on an export strategy, I mean, you have to be aware that there's a budget related, there's an industry related to this business, there's relationships, you know, and Am I there? Okay, sorry, there was a phone call entering my phone. So you gotta choose your battles. You know, you just don't have to expect that one day you're gonna be an expert band in the whole world at once. You have to pick what's your route, what are your principal markets. If you're gonna go to conferences or not, you're gonna tour with another band, you're gonna support someone. You know, but something like I'm in Peru. I'm a small market. I'm a developing small market in a developing region. You know, we're in South America, where Brazil is huge, where Colombia is very big, and Chile is very solid. You know, I mean, like the small one in the middle. So my approach as a buyer is very limited. I'm very dependent on whatever happens around me. You know, so for me to choose a band, an emerging artist, to book them, to bring them, to put on a festival, has also a lot to do with what they are doing, you know, to justify my effort on bringing them, you know. Maybe there's a boss of the band around, but it will help a lot if they are aware of, through their marketing strategies, make that boss bigger in Colombia and in Chile and in Brazil. So there's a regional boss, you know, like there's a regional hype, you know, and if they get some press in their country and there's a review on Pitchfork and these other media and whatever, it's like, it helps me to sell the story here, you know. So I don't know, it's an overall view on exporting an artist and pursuing a development approach, like worldwide, you know. Of course, it has to do a lot with the genre of the band, you know, of course, but whatever. I may take it too long, but I think this is something to be aware of for sure.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Pepe. I see Darryl is here, which is fantastic. And maybe I can intro him here. He is my boss. Love working with him. He runs Indie Week, and I'm sure he can tell us a bit more about that. And I do have some audience questions that we can go through, and I'll have Darryl go through them as well.
Hey, everybody. Sorry for my lateness. I was on a train. Yeah, so I believe we're talking about export and what conferences and festivals are looking in for artists. And if there's something that I could just add that I tell everybody about is really use the digital tools that are out there to, one, investigate which market is the best market for you, because I think a lot of artists are just trying to go outward without a lot of information. You know, yes, it'd be great to play in Portugal. Yes, it'd be great to play in Spain and all that, but is it the right audience? And a great sort of tool to use to try to find out is use social media ads like Facebook, and use a Facebook pixel that can track audiences and give you data that will actually let you know where people are tuning in from or engaging with your content. And then in trying to go to a market, it's really costly and expensive to send a band, an artist. So often what I try to say is send one person or a representative to the conference of the market you're looking to go to, make some connections, do some investigation, get some connections that can help build moving towards a successful showcase when you do go there. Because I think a lot of times artists do one-offs, and really you need to be looking at a market that you're going to go back every 6 months to keep continuing to develop it. For the reason for you to spend all that money to go there, I think you have to think that I'm going there repeatedly to build it, just as if it's like my home market. This is now my extended home market. Real good example is a band called Trampa from Brazil. They played Indie Week, and we really liked what we heard and saw. The audience engaged with them. So we had them back in less than 6 months, and we booked a small tour with them, but it was in conjunction with another Canadian festival and conference. And so they keep coming back, and except for COVID, of course, and they were literally supposed to travel May last year. So we had to cancel our shows, but the audience grew so that they were actually selling out clubs in Toronto better than Toronto bands selling out clubs in Toronto. And they always sold merch to make it worthwhile. So they actually went back with a profit. And also the Canadian dollar is really strong in Brazil, so it's like double or triple their money, which is why Canada made sense for a market for them to work. US, the dollar is really expensive in comparison, so it didn't look like it was going to be a break even. But also the fact that if we're able to build one market, think of the next neighboring market. So what we were doing there, the strategy is build Canada up so then we could start adding shows in the States, and then build that knowing that we will be profitable on the Canada side. And we probably won't be on the US side, so it'll probably end up a break-even situation. And also be aware that it is an investment in the career, that you probably won't break even for the first couple of trips. So it is an investment kind of option that you have to have faith in and build into it. So that's my little bit about, if you're going to build a market, use digital tools, Facebook ads. If you're running ads that target a market, and use a pixel, you'll be able to know if people are engaging or not. An artist I know in the UK will do Facebook ads for a market they're interested in, and they're not going to book a show until there's at least 500 people they know that are engaged, and then they'll book a venue that's 100, so that they know it's going to sell out 100%. And they also will book a tour whenever they have a song release, and they won't put a song out unless they have a tour. So there's also the tools that are promoting each other there as well. So that's my little take on artists trying to export, especially from a DIY sense where you might not have the full team around you and so on. Be budget conscious, but also be really, really aware of where your market is. Hopefully that made sense.
Totally. Awesome. Well, I'll jump to some audience questions here in the remaining minutes. We'll start with you, Dhari. This question is, what does a music event need to keep in mind when growing and conquering new audiences internationally? Is there something that you found that has helped WOMEX and your work in terms of continuing to grow?
So growing over the years and increasing in audience numbers. Yeah. I think to be honest, with WOMEX, it's grown mainly through word of mouth. Like, obviously, we do a work on marketing and building partnerships, but it's predominantly through word of mouth and through having international partners or other event partners. I mean, the way we see it is we have not competitors across the oceans or across the borders. It's like people doing what we do, and we need to work together to promote what we do. So yeah, sure. I don't know, it's not something that I can just say this is the marketing strategy, but it's yeah, we have international community, I would say, and we help each other.
Right. Yeah, I think that's spot on. I mean, I think I'd almost rephrase that question and turn it from, well, we're not conquering new audiences, we're collaborating with new audiences on, like, WOMEX knows this people, well, you'll partner with someone else that knows more people that are interested in the same or similar things. You know, it's a constant effort, especially with word of mouth. I mean, it is the most powerful tool, that's amazing to hear from WOMEX. But yeah, I'll pass it over to you, Jose. What do you think is important to keep in mind, or what have you kept in mind when growing VMF? Maybe for the last year doing this online, is there something that you found that has worked in terms of in growing?
All right. I mean, I would take the question to a step before. I think a band should be aware that at some point in any other markets, what values them is their capacity for selling tickets. You know, so how, like, when are they ready to sell X amount of tickets on whatever other country? You know, it's something that they have to be focusing on. You know, on how to manage to quantify that or calculate that. You know, and the only thing that comes to mind today is what Dara mentioned. You know, like digital tools have helped so much. You know, for me, data today helps a lot. You know, if I have numbers that prove me that there's a curve, you know, there's an increment on a curve. I see a tendency. You know, if I see data showing me that on some markets around me or in my market, there's the beginning of a possible audience development, I'm going to invest on that. I'm going to bet on that. But if there's none of that, it's so much harder for me to guess on what could be done, you know. So even if I love the music, if I don't see that, it's too much of a big guess, you know. So data is key today, you know, for sure.
Yeah, how important, right? I think that.
I mean, I have been wrong though. Sorry, I have been very wrong on some mid-size or even bigger artists with huge numbers, where I was like, oh my God, let's do this. Let's buy these artists, and they didn't sell. The conversion is not necessarily equal. You know, there's Spotify artists that not necessarily monetize the same way on selling tickets. And that's a strategy for management to consider for sure, you know. But at least it's a pitching tool, you know.
Right.
Definitely.
And I think, I mean, the next question here that was submitted was, what's the future of international events? And I think from an organizer's standpoint, it is like, since going online, there's so much data at our fingertips. Like now more than ever, at least from going in person. Do you guys think, where are you placing your bets on, in person, hybrid, or online? Do you think that hybrid is going to be the new way forward? And do you think that events will kind of always have this online aspect to them going forward? What do you think, Dhari?
I mean, last year we did a full digital conference for WOMEX in 2020 with our partners in Budapest, and it was successful in what it was, but it cannot replace the in-person. I mean, you know, when you're standing in a concert venue, you can feel the music, you can feel the vibration, you can talk to people, you can hug people. I don't think anything can replace that. But I do think that with Corona, it's showed us how important it is to really build on being inclusive for people who cannot travel because of budget or visas or health reasons or whatever reason, that there does need to be some element that they can interact with the community, even if it's from home. So yeah, I think that's something a lot of events will start working on and continue working on, because I mean, time difference is a problem as always, but it is really important to be able to connect on an international level, even if you cannot travel for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts, Pepe? Do you think that hybrid's the new way forward? Do you think it'll go back full scale in person?
That's that question, and if remote offices are going to stay, is like the trend everywhere, you know, like everyone's like questioning. I think there are some things that have that are here to stay for sure, you know, like once you learn something, you cannot de-learn, you know, or unlearn, you know, it's hard. So the virtuality has bring new levels of experiences and interaction that cannot be replicated on a physical normal situation, you know, but still they cannot be compared, you know. So what I do think, I'm leaning to think that there's a hybrid development that may be very interesting, where you can still experience the physical side of live shows, you know, of life itself as a concept, where you can still participate on a virtual experience at the same time. Let's say, no, I don't know, where you can be on a physical event, but what's happening on your cell phone, on your mobile, related to the actual event, is very interesting too. So you're experiencing in both ways, you know. I don't think hybrid means I'm gonna stay home and watch the event on my screen, you know. And that even can be like fuck, I forgot the concept. Just got out of my head. Reality,
Like
virtual
virtual
reality.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's just like it's going to a whole different level, you know. So I think it's gonna be hard to just erase what everything we've learned on the virtuality of today's experiences in music, you know, for sure.
This definitely brings a lot of challenges though for events and producers, because I mean, running an event, you need a certain number of people in the team, and as we know, digital events are also very time consuming and they take a lot of effort. So this is something that's also going to be a challenge moving forward, because to run a hybrid event, basically 2 parallel festivals,
True.
yeah, it's going to be
very true. Definitely. And I think I like the points that you brought up, Jose, just about there's no unlearning that's going to happen here. Like the society in general has gotten accustomed to talking to people on Zoom, and over the last year attended events online, and that's something that is people have experienced and can expect and know of. So I think that we'll see it in some form. We'll see how it takes shape.
Yeah. If I could jump in here. Sorry.
Go for it.
Points that have been made, and Dhari's exactly right in that it's super expensive to run 2 events at the same time, and like online and in person. There's a lot of expenses and new education for staff, a lot of learning on the staff side of things, and doing it for the first time, and you know, unexpected kind of challenges and results. But if anything, I think that what it starts doing is defining the event. Like a conference is now very different from a festival. Often they're like entwined. You know, you're at a hotel and there might be an afternoon mixer with a band playing, and then more sessions, and then band like bleeds into the festival side of things. And that's very much in person. But from our experience with Indie Week, focusing mostly like 95% on the conference side of things, there's a lot of positives that come out of it being digital. You know, it's a kind of thing where we're able to have higher level speakers because we don't have to pay for flights and hotels. Like we've got Marky Ramone from the Ramones next week. We've got the manager of Stone Temple Pilots, where they just need to spend an hour online with us. So that part's interesting, but also the fact that the sessions are recorded. On a conference side, when there's education going out, that recording means anybody can watch it later on, where at a conference that's missed in person. So there's pros and cons, and I think what's going to happen is every event is going to have its own personality, and that's actually what's really exciting about it, is that everybody, like we've all had to reinvent everything we do pretty much over this time period. It's like, what are we doing? And like in Canada here, we've had calls weekly at the start of COVID with all the festivals of Canada going, what are you doing? I don't know, what are you doing? And such, and everybody has sort of found their place. And I think if anything, it's rejuvenated what we do a little bit. It's forced us to think outside of the box and make things interesting. And I'm actually really positive about what's going to be next, because it allows us to be creative within our events, possibly more than ever before. And it's sort of one of the things, going, I think, back to the last question, one of the things that's gotten interesting about this is, so last week I did a session for Spain. Today it's Brazil. Next week is Canada and Spain. The week after is Montreal. The week after that is Taiwan and Peru with Pepe. And that too, I wouldn't have been able to do that. If I wasn't able to go, I'd just be like, I can't participate. And I was out of the equation. But now it allows us to say, yes, let's do stuff. And Dhari, I was supposed to be at WOMEX, but the whole travel I was supposed to go at the start was COVID, the first festival canceled. And so it was looking weird, right?
Next year,
100%. But that's the thing that's interesting is now we can participate at a higher level as well. Even if we can't be there in person, we can still make the connections and also learn more because by attending a lot of these sessions, I've actually learned more by being able to be present. So it's going to be interesting. And I think everything is viable. That's the thing. It's like everything's kind of on the table right now. And that's the interesting part. And I think it's going to be very creative.
Definitely. So I think I'm getting the ping from Lucas that is our allotted time. Thank you for your time, Dhari, and thank you for your time, Pepe, joining us to talk about this and talk with Music Pro Awards in Brasilia. It's been a great chat. I'm going to now pass it over to Lucas, who will close it down for this session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, Zach. Thank you. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, thank you all. It was a pleasure to have you all here. It was great to see how different perspectives, from different, hi Darryl, from different experiences and different, events like Darryl from WOMEX and Zach and Darryl from Indie Week. Because even though we are doing the same thing that is a international event, each one of those events have particularities and, have specific things about them. But yeah, again, thank you all for being here. It was a pleasure. It was an honor to have you guys here because of this new international partnership between the MPA and the Indie Week Festival. So we're very glad to have you guys here, very honored. As I told Zach, this panel was recorded and we're going to stream it on national television as well on a new partnership from a network here in Brazil. So anyway, just saying again, we're very happy and honored to have you guys here. It was a great panel. Thank you, Zach, Darryl, and everyone who participated today. So yeah, just want to thank you guys again. If you want to say a quick goodbye again, and then I will pass it on the rest of the schedule in Portuguese.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Pessoal, esse foi então o fim do segundo painel do dia. Agora a gente vai continuar com a programação aqui do prêmio. A gente tem agora mais videoclipes dos finalistas. E a gente vai começar com o da Sandra do Habib, que é o vídeo Bolerar, seguido do artista Jortácio, que vai apresentar pra gente a música O Jogo. Então fiquem com os videoclipes dos finalistas. Daqui a pouco a gente está de volta para o próximo painel, que vai ser nacional, mediado pela Valéria Becker. Então fiquem ligados que vai ser ótimo também. E obrigado por estar aqui. Até mais.